저희 이 세종국가 리더십 포럼이 벌써 시작한 지가 21차 되니까는 지난 한 2년 가까운 세월 동안에 한 번도 빠짐없이 그 매월 여름에 딱 한 번 빠지고 아주 지금까지 아주 일관성 있게 그렇게 진행되어 오고 있고, 앞으로도 그게 한번 팜플렛 보시면은 금년 12월까지는 26차로서 금년에 마치게 되는데요. 오늘 또 21차 세종국가 리더십 포럼을 갖게 돼서 너무나 감사하게 생각하고 또 기쁘게 생각합니다. 먼저 오늘 이 모임을 아주 지속적으로 잘 추진하도록 지원해 주시고 또한 많은 애정을 가지고 진행해 오신 성경용 이사장님 모시고 환영사를 듣도록 하겠습니다. 네, 박수로서 맞아 주십시오.
예, 여러분 반갑습니다. 오늘은 우리가 스위스 대사님을 모시고 하는 그 포럼에 대해서 제가 좀 짧은 실력이지만은 영어로 한번 인사를 드릴까 했는데 아니 영어로 하면은 이게 충분히 제 생각을 다 말씀드리기 힘들어서 이 동시 통역기를 보고 막 한글로 하기로 이렇게 생각을 했습니다. 우선 그 21회차가 되는 그런 뜻깊은 날이고요. 또 오늘 이 자리에는 독일 대사님이 오신 것도 의미 있는 일이지만 우리 신용화 교수님 지난번에 도산 안창호 선생에 대해서 아주 좋은 것도 강연을 해주시고 그런 인연으로 오늘 또 오신 것 같습니다. 저희는 다음에 기회가 되면은 고조선 문명에 대해서도 꼭 한번 좀 강의를 듣고 싶습니다. 저는 그 유튜브를 통해서 뭐 몇 차례 제가 강연을 들었는데 또 책도 봤고요. 우리가 모르는 내용에 대해서 엄청난 지금 그 비밀들이 그 속에 있다고 생각합니다. 다음에 좀 기회를 만들었으면 좋겠습니다. 오늘은 우리 스위스 대사님을 모신 게 아마도 이 그 포럼을 주관하는 우리 안성호 행정연구원 원장님의 관심을 좀 담은 것이기도 하다고 봅니다. 우리 안성호 원장님은 오랫동안 스위스의 정치 체제 모델, 또 분권 국가, 연방주의, 또 지방자치, 직접민주주의 이런 데 대해서 국내 최고의 이론가이시기도 한데 또 저하고는 오랜 또 친구이기도 합니다. 어느 해부터 저를 만나면 다른 이야기를 일치하지 않습니다. 오로지 스위스 얘기만 합니다. 저도 뭐 그 비슷한 관심이 있어서 스위스에 대해서 공부하고 방문도 하는 그런 기회가 있었지만은 이분 이야기를 들을 때마다 스위스를 이해하는 것을 넘어서서 어느 순간 스위스를 좋아하고 사랑하는 마음을 가지고 있는 게 아닌가 저는 그렇게 느끼고 있습니다. 아마 우리가 스위스를 좀 더 알면 아름다운 이 산이나 자연 경관을 좋아하는 것 이외에 우리가 그 나라가 어떻게 조직되어 있고 또 어떻게 운영되는지를 좀 더 잘 알면 좀 더 많이 사랑하게 되지 않을까 이렇게 생각합니다. 오늘 우리 저 대사님 오셨는데 제목이 아주 참 마음에 듭니다. 스위스 번영의 비밀. 아마도 그 번영을 가져오는 그 이면에 직접민주주의 요소도 있을 것이고 우리가 사회과학에서 이제 컨센서스 디모크라시, 머저리테리안 디모크라시하고 이렇게 대비되는 개념이 합의민주주의인데 그 내용 또 이 합의를 이끌어내기 위해서 여러 정치 세력들이 끊임없이 대화하고 토론하고 협상하고 타협하고 아마 그것이 갈등을 이기면서 좋은 성과를 만들어내는 중요한 제도 내지는 정치 과정이 아닌가 이렇게 생각합니다. 이것이 궁극적으로 사회적 경제적 평등을 만들어내는 그런 조건이 되지 않겠나 생각합니다. 이 비밀들은 사실은 지금 당장 우리 한국에 가장 필요한 그런 요소들이 아닌가 이렇게 생각하고 오늘 좋은 말씀 듣고 우리가 스위스를 더 잘 이해하고 스위스를 스위스의 기적을 만들어내는 그 원리가 우리 한국 사회에 어떻게 적용될 수 있는지에 대해서도 고민하는 시간이 됐으면 합니다. 우리 안성호 원장님의 그 스위스 사랑이 오늘 이런 그 자리를 만들었고 우리 두 나라 사이에도 이렇게 관광객만 이렇게 방문하는 게 아니고 우리 학자들 각도 정책 연구를 하는 분들 사이에도 더 많은 대화 또 더 많은 어떤 협력이 진행될 수 있기를 기대합니다. 대단히 감사합니다.
네, 다음으로는 바쁘실 텐데 불구하고 또 참석해 주신 국민경제자문회의 이재민 부의장님의 축사를 듣도록 하겠습니다.
네, 안녕하십니까. 국민경제자문회의 부의장 이재민입니다. 세종국가 리더십 포럼에 오늘 저는 그 처음 참석인데 대표적인 정책 공론의 장이라는 것은 일찍부터 알고 있었습니다. 제가 오늘 여기 와서 축사를 하게 된 게 지금 좀 스스로 생각하기에 좀 외람되다고 생각하는 것이 저희 대학 시절에 은사였던 우리 진용화 교수님이 여기 와 계셔서 제가 축사라는 걸 하기가 조금 이렇게 좀 쑥스러운 면이 있습니다. 그래도 저 나름대로 적어온 것대로 좀 말씀을 드려보도록 하겠습니다. 우리 성경용 이사장님 저를 초대해 주셔서 감사하고요. 그리고 오늘 발표를 해주실 리누스 폰 카스텔무르 대사님 감사합니다. 그리고 같이 참석해 주신 내빈 여러분들께도 감사의 말씀드립니다. 경제인문사회연구회에서 주최하는 세종국가 리더십 포럼은 2018년 출범한 이래로 우리나라 지도자들이 가져야 할 리더십을 제시하고 이런 리더십이 정책 현황과 중장기 국정 방향에 기여할 수 있는 논의의 장을 마련해 왔습니다. 오늘 주한 스위스 대사님을 모시고 코로나19 이후 급격한 변화를 맞은 한국이 나아가야 할 방향에 대해서 생각해보는 뜻깊은 자리를 마련하셨습니다. 한국은 지난 5개월 동안에 코로나19 위기가 전 세계를 덮고 있는 속에서 성공적인 방역을 한 모범적인 나라가 되었습니다. 그러나 아직 국내의 사정은 여전히 불확실합니다. 특히 다른 나라들은 아직 한국만큼 방역에 성공하지 못했기 때문에 대외 개방도가 높은 한국 같은 나라에게 지속적인 위협이 되고 있습니다. 더 중요한 것은 조만간 코로나19 위기를 극복한다 하더라도 세계와 한국이 과거와 같은 모습으로 돌아가지는 못할 것이라는 것입니다. 우선 첫째로 2008년 이미 위기 이후로 이미 진행되어 온 대침체가 대봉쇄까지 더해져서 세계 경제, 정치 질서의 지각 변동을 가져올 가능성이 아주 커졌습니다. 이미 일어나고 있는 미중 패권 경쟁이 이번 사태를 계기로 더욱 격화되고 다른 나라들 또한 자국 우선주의를 강화할 것입니다. 둘째로 비대면 관계의 확대 등으로 이미 진행 중인 기술 변화와 그에 따른 구조 변화가 가속될 것으로 생각이 됩니다. 디지털 혁명이라고 부르는 이 변화는 이미 진행되고 있었는데 이번 위기로 가속도가 붙을 것이 틀림없게 되었습니다. 셋째로 코로나 위기는 전 세계적으로 불평등 문제를 더욱 부각시킬 것입니다. 1980년대 이후 세계는 불평등이 확대되어서 이미 10여 년 전에 심각한 상황에 도달했습니다. 2008년 위기 이후에도 이 문제는 해결이 되지 않고 여전히 큰 과제로 남아 있었는데 이제 코로나 위기가 이 문제를 더욱더 심각한 사태로 악화시킬 가능성이 커졌습니다. 넷째로 코로나 위기는 전염병, 환경 및 생태 문제, 나아가서 자연과 인간 간의 문제를 다시 생각하는 그런 계기가 될 것으로 생각이 됩니다. 이런 세계적인 큰 변동 속에서 한국이 당면하고 있는 과제는 너무나 큽니다. 우선 아까 제가 처음으로 말씀드렸던 첫째 과제라고 말씀드렸던 세계 질서의 변동 문제를 본다면은 한국은 1960년대 고도 성장이 시작된 이후 세계 질서 변화에 비교적 잘 적응해서 지금까지 오게 되었습니다. 그동안 많은 변화가 있었지만 한국은 그런 대로 잘 적응을 했는데 문제는 그런 변동하고는 비교가 안 되는 지각 변동이 밀려오고 있다는 사실입니다. 그리고 이 지각 변동이 결국 동아시아를 중심 무대로 해서 일어나고 있고 바로 한국이 그 한복판에 서 있습니다. 한국의 입장에서는 사실은 거의 19세기 말에 비경가는 그런 지각 변동이 지금 몰려오고 있는 상태입니다. 그 다음에 이 기술 패러다임의 변화에 대해서 한국이 적응하는 문제를 한번 생각해 보면은 비교적 고도 성장 이후에는 역시 잘 해왔다고 생각이 됩니다. 예컨대 1990년대에 산업화는 늦었지만 정보화는 앞서가자 그런 구호가 아주 많은 분들이 공유하는 구호였었고요. 그것이 실행됨으로써 한국이 지금 같은 IT 강국이 될 수 있었습니다. 그러나 지금 중국 같은 대규모 후발자의 추격 같은 것은 한국이 일찍이 당면해 보지 못한 그런 도전입니다. 그 다음에 한국에 있어서 불평등의 문제에 대해서 말하자면은 1997년 외환위기 전까지 한국은 대체로 형평을 수반한 성장을 하고 있었다고 볼 수가 있겠습니다. 그런데 지난 20여 년간 분배가 굉장히 악화됐습니다. 20년간 악화되는 분배가 최근 1, 2년간 개선되는 추세를 보이고 있었는데 지금 안타깝게도 코로나 위기로 다시 악화되는 상황을 맞게 되었습니다. 환경 문제에 대해서 우리가 본다면은 한국은 원래 환경 후진국이었던 데다가 최근 12년 동안 빈발한 전염병 문제로부터 자유롭지 못했고 지금 코로나 사태에 잘 대응하고 있다고 해서 이 문제로부터 자유롭지 못하다는 것은 말할 필요도 없습니다. 미세먼지로 표현되는 환경 문제, 기후 변화, 특히 미세먼지, 기후 변화 이쪽 문제도 심각한 상황입니다. 이런 급격하고 거대한 변화에 대응하는 데는 그것을 잘 읽어내고 대책을 세워서 시행하는 능력이 있어야 할 것입니다. 그런 능력을 갖추는 데는 무엇보다도 사회 구성원의 참여를 통한 내부적 결속력을 갖추는 것이 중요합니다. 이런 점에서 스위스는 특히 배울 점이 많은 나라입니다. 아까 우리 성경용 이사장님이 안성호 원장님이 여기에 대해서 워낙 전문가라고 말씀하셨는데 저는 전문가는 아니고 대체로 밖에서 본 피상적인 지식을 가지고서 본다면 스위스는 참으로 배울 것이 많은 나라입니다. 스위스는 지난 800여 년간 유럽의 강대국 사이에서 끊임없이 변하는 국제적 환경 변화에 성공적으로 적응해서 전형적인 강소국으로 발전하였습니다. 내부적으로는 시민의 광범위한 참여를 통한 내실 있는 민주정치를 실현하고 있습니다. 그러면서 스위스는 끊임없이 경제와 사회의 구조 변화에 적응해서 항상 새로운 영역에서 세계적 경쟁력을 갖춤으로써 지속적으로 경제 발전을 해온 세계 최고 소득 국가의 하나입니다. 스위스는 그러면서도 분배의 평등을 달성하고 있는 몇 안 되는 선진국 중의 하나입니다. 스위스의 중산층이 보유한 자산은 나라 전체 자산의 70% 수준으로 나라의 부가 국민 전체에 고루 분배되어 있습니다. 그리고 대표적인 복지국가로 알려진 스칸디나비아 국가 대비했을 때의 가계의 순자산은 2배이면서 최고 소득 세율은 3분의 2입니다. 저는 이걸 작년 말에 뉴욕타임스에서 읽었는데 오늘 우리 대사님이 여기에 대해서 좀 잘 설명을 해 주시리라 생각합니다. 굉장히 저는 놀랐어요. 그러면서 또 정부 지출은 스칸디나비아 국가들의 GDP의 반에 이르는 반면 스위스는 3분의 1에 불과합니다. 그러니까 이 3분의 1 정도의 정부 지출을 가지고서 거의 스칸디나비아 국가와 같은 정도의 복지를 달성하고 있다는 것은 굉장히 저는 사실은 굉장히 인상 깊게 읽었는데 오늘 설명을 많이 들을 수 있으리라고 생각합니다. 스위스는 알프스라는 자연의 이점을 잘 활용해서 최고의 환경을 이룩한 나라이고 그리고 그것을 지금 잘 누리고 있는 그런 나라입니다. 그래서 이 모든 점에서 우리가 코로나 위기를 당면해서 더욱더 생각해 봐야 될 과제들에 대해서 스위스는 우리에게 정말로 많은 것을 가르칠 수 있는 그런 나라라고 생각합니다. 그래서 그런 점에서 오늘 주한 스위스 대사님이 발표하시는 내용은 한국이 앞으로 나아갈 방향을 정하는 데 중요한 참고가 될 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다. 오늘 행사가 발표 및 토론을 통해서 우리가 당면한 과제를 점검하고 미래를 향해 나아가는 길을 찾는 계기가 되기를 바랍니다. 다시 한번 오늘 토론회 개최를 진심으로 축하드립니다. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 신용화 성인님, 한번 축사 간단한 말씀. 예, 알겠습니다. 예, 그러면은 이제 오늘 특별히 모신 주한 스위스 대사 연사 소개 및 이 내용에 대한 전반적인 내용에 대해서 사회를 보실 분은 안성호 원장이십니다. 나오실 때 박수로서 맞아주십시오.
여러분 이렇게 바쁜 시간에 나와주신 여러분에게 진심으로 감사드립니다. 우리 리누스 폰 카스텔무르 대사님을 간략히 소개해드리겠습니다. 바젤 대학에서 역사학 박사를 받으시고 1990년 이후에 스위스 외무부에서 공무원으로 근무해 오셨습니다. 그리고 한때는 스위스 2차 세계대전의 스위스 역할에 대해서 여러 가지 특히 그 유태인과 관련한 문제가 있었던 걸로 알고 있습니다. 그래서 그 문제를 전문적으로 이렇게 연구하는 그런 전문가위원회가 있는데 거기 사무총장을 역임하시고 후에 호주, 덴마크, 나토 등에서 카운슬러가 이 대사관직에 뭐라고 부르요? 공사예요? 참사관. 그 참사관이군요. 그리고 이제 나토에서는 미니스터 공사를 하시고 그 다음에 콩고 가봉의 대사, 인도 부탄의 대사, 그리고 2016년도부터는 한국에서 대사직을 지금 하고 계십니다. 여러분 나오실 때 크게 환영해 주시기 바랍니다. 이 카스텔무 대사님, please come in front of this. 한 시간 동안 말씀을 듣도록 하겠습니다.
Good afternoon to everybody. Dear Professor Ahn, President of Korean Institute of Public Administration, dignitaries and officials, ladies and gentlemen, and if I may say so, dear friends, I'm very impressed to see so many people on a Friday afternoon, knowing that you are hardworking people and that you have this kind of guillotine of 52 hours a week. Thank you very much for taking your time and for having interest in what I can share with you. I'm definitely extremely honored to deliver the 21st Sejong Lecture, and I hope I will be at the level of your expectations. I think the Vice Chairman of the National Economic Advisory Council said it already so well and was so well briefed. So I hope that I can add some substance and that we can have a discussion also. It shouldn't be a kind of lecture ex cathedra. I always like to exchange and to answer to your questions. Thank you for inviting me to this Sejong Public Leadership Forum. King Sejong is a big man in Korean history. He was not only a great king, he was also a great reformer. And in a way, I would also say he was a royal democrat avant la lettre. because he introduced so many reforms, and in creating Hangul, your alphabet, he really was empowering the common man, the common woman, and giving them access to education, cultivating an early time the ideal of educated and responsible citizens. And that is all what democracy is about. I will, after my short introduction, introduce 4 pillars. I think it's interesting to see it. The political stability, and I will run through some statistical data. Not all of you might be familiar with Switzerland, so let me do that. I will try also to run you through the reasons for the economic prosperity in Switzerland. I will try to talk about social equality. In Switzerland also, it's an aspiration. It's not a target that is achieved, that we can tick off. We have to work on that every day and every year. And finally, I will try to delve a little bit on the tools and instruments of direct democracy, the consensus-driven democracy in Switzerland, and I will try to come to some conclusions. Korea, as you mentioned, Vice President, has done extremely well in the last 50 years. Economically, the miracle of the Han River was really impressing, not only in Korea, but also all over the world. Politically also, becoming a mature democracy at the end of the 1980s was a real achievement. And as a society, Korea is striving to opening up and to give really the voice to every citizen and to become a more open and a more equal society. That also deserves certainly our applause. I would like to kick off with 2 things, and perhaps we go to... Is it? Yes. I would like to give you 2 snapshots. The first one is a movie excerpt of a movie that was done in 1949, and Orson Welles is playing a kind of businessman in after-war Vienna, and he is talking about Italy, and he is talking about Switzerland, and he is comparing the 2 countries, and you will see what kind of conclusion he comes to. It's a negative picture, it's kind of a negative stereotype, and then we have the positive stereotype that the Vice President was already mentioning. It's a very short extract of the movie, it's 30 seconds, so listen to what he has to say on Renaissance Italy and on Switzerland.
Well, what the fellow said. In Italy, for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace, and what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. So long, Holly.
So, yes, it's all wrong. The cuckoo clock is an invention of southern Germany. But as Switzerland is a watchmaking country, well, yes, we are watchmakers and the Swiss also. It's wrong that Switzerland lived in brotherly love and peace. Switzerland was a very worrisome country. We had many wars, even civil wars, and you will see in the 19th century, Switzerland, modern Switzerland, was founded after that. But obviously, yes, there is no Swiss Michelangelo, there is no Swiss Leonardo da Vinci, but there are many other important people. But I think it's very interesting, and coming from Orson Welles, who is a brilliant intellectual and American agent provocateur, I think this is interesting. We move on to the next slide. And this is this article of Ruchir Sharma. Ruchir Sharma is an Indian intellectual, financier, and analyst. And what he says, I think, basically is interesting. I'll let you read it. I hope you can read it. And for me, the key message is that a pragmatic country can have a business-friendly environment alongside social equality if the balance if it gets the balance right. So that is what we are looking for in Switzerland. We want to be a wealthy country, but we want also to be a fair country and a kind of equal country as much as possible. And what Ruchir Sharma said in a way, very provocative again, the happy, healthy capitalist in Switzerland, he says Switzerland is the better version of Scandinavia. I would not tell that to my Swedish and Danish and Norwegian friends, but in a way it's true. Because Switzerland is wealthy, Switzerland has a very strong social security network, but at a much lower price. And it's a much more open society than is Sweden or Norway or Denmark, if we want to compare with that. Let me run you through, and this is important. This is the preamble of the Swiss Constitution, the Swiss Federal Constitution. Switzerland was founded in 1948 after a civil war. There were two factions, the progressives, the liberals, against the conservative. The conservative were more the Catholics and the smaller rural countries, and the liberals, the progressive, were the cities, were more the Protestants, more industrialized people. And there was, at the end, a kind of stalemate. The two could not come to grips, and they were not able to reform the country, and there was a civil war. A short one, fortunately, but that is something many people do not know. It lasted 1 month. There were some 86 casualties and 600 people that were wounded. And after this war, both sides came together, and the magnanimity of the winners of the victorious camp led to a kind of reconciliation. That was extremely important. And in the end also, the losing side was integrated in the state. The progressives wanted a federal state, but a very strong central state, and the conservatives said, no, we have to protect also the smaller minorities. And the Swiss Federal Constitution is a very balanced act, bringing together a kind of federal state, certainly, but also a central state, a powerful central state, but leaving a lot of prerogatives and privileges to the cantons, as we know them. So tolerance was there, integration of people, and the respect for losers. The attitude is not the winner takes it all. We have won, now we do what we want. No, the basic success of Switzerland was overcoming really this. And the most important line for me is on the lower part, certain that freedom is only for those who use the freedom. Freedom is not something abstract. Freedom is something that you exercise, that you use. And that is the kind of Swiss, the pragmatic Swiss approach to freedom. And the other thing, coming to wealth, is how to measure the wealth. Well, it's not GDP in the end. It's not GDP per capita. But it's GDP for the weakest one. What is on the plate for the poor, that is not very well educated, that has not chance, that had some accidents in life? I think the most important thing of Swiss philosophy is the strength of a people is measured by the welfare of the weak. That is something that is, again, a program. It's not easy to achieve, but we try to live up to that one. Sorry. I will, very short, you all know a little bit, we are much smaller than Korea, 6 times smaller than Korea, population-wise 2.5 smaller in land. We have 4 languages, we have many religions. What is interesting is that also the traditional kind of balance, where the Protestants were the majority of 55 to 60%, Catholics were the minority of 40%, 45%, has been changed completely through immigration. You see 5% of Islamic religion, and most important, Switzerland has become a secularized society. Almost 1/3 of population says they are not religious at all. it's a country of many contrasts, and I will run through it very fast. Urban versus rural. The most of the pictures you might have in mind is about rural Switzerland, glaciers, mountains, forests, and meadows. But basically, population is living, 9/10 are living in agglomeration, like in Korea. Young against old, well, we are an aging society. Almost 1/5 of the population is 65 years old and older. But we have still, again, thanks to immigration, a higher fertility rate than you have in Korea, 1.5. It's still lower than the reproduction needed, but it's there. Women against men, well, that's a little bit of a sad chapter because Swiss women were granted suffrage, the universal suffrage, the right to vote, only in 1971. This is typically a downside of the federal system where the men who had to vote and to accept, and of the direct democratic system, they were saying no. There were, in 1959 it was proposed, it was rejected even earlier. So that's sometimes societal evolution comes very late because of direct democracy. There is a price to pay, and I'm not proud about this one. It was only introduced in 1971. What is also interesting is now women are catching up very fast. In our bicameral parliament, in the National Assembly, the Swiss National Assembly, 42% of the MPs are women. In our Senate, the upper house, it's a bit lower, it's 26%. And there is still, unfortunately, a gender gap. Women are paid, in average, 11.5% less, but the gap is narrowing. We are tackling that and hope that we will come to the real equality between women and men. And the other important thing is Switzerland is a country with many, many foreigners. 25% of the population do not have a Swiss passport, so it's a very multicultural and multinational country. The system, very quickly, well, it's a three-layer system, a three-tier system. The federal state, the Swiss Confederation, 26 cantons, some of them very small. The smallest cantons are smaller than your coups in Seoul or in Busan or in Daegu. The smallest canton is between 20 and 30,000 inhabitants. But still, they have a parliament, they have a government, they participate in votes and all that. And then you have the municipalities. The Swiss cities are rather small by Korean standards, by Asian standards. Zurich is the biggest city, around 500,000 people. Then comes Geneva, then comes Basel, then comes Bern, around 200,000 people. What is important, and we will talk about that later, is the subsidiarity principle and a kind of consensus-driven democracy. Democracy in the Swiss system is not majority against opposition. It is integrating all major parties around the table, a kind of constant round table where people are negotiating positions all the time. And what is also important is the state is a very mean state. It's a strong administration, but number-wise it's really rather small. This is a picture of the Swiss government. Again, it's only 7 ministers, and on the left-hand side, our chancellor. He is the one who is in charge of running what would be, in the Korean terminology, the Blue House. So he would be, he is not the minister, and the lady in the middle, in the kind of ivory jacket, is the president. But she is the president only for 1 year. And then she hands over to one of the others. The next one will be the gentleman in the blue jacket in the first row again. And what you see, these short things are the party affiliations. CVP is Christian Democrat. They have one minister and the chancellor. SVP is the Swiss Popular Party. This is the Conservative Party, the more nationalist party. In the middle, you have 2 ministers from the Socialist Party. So the president is socialist this year, and the Minister of Health, Interior, is also socialist. Then you have the Liberal, FDP is the Liberal Party, with 2 representatives, the gentleman in the middle, that is my minister, the foreign minister, and the lady on the right-hand side, who is Justice Minister. And again, another SVP, which is the nationalist, kind of conservative, he is the finance minister. These people all together represent 70% of the electorate. So in Korean terms, it would mean almost that, Democratic Party would rule together with United Future Party together. They would be a great coalition, and they would discuss, and they would share. Democratic Party would have 4 ministers, and UFP would have 2 ministers, or there would be perhaps another party there, and they would really run it together. That is very much ingrained in Switzerland, that you cannot have the luxury of having enemies or hostile forces. We are all Swiss, we have to find pragmatically solutions together. And this means we try to integrate all the opinions and try to come to a conclusion. That's called the magic formula. It was introduced in 1959. It is a gradual evolution. It was not always there. In the 19th century, it was one party. It opened to the Catholic losers of the war in 1891. It opened to the Social Democrats only during the Second World War. But now it's very much ingrained in our DNA. We have the Parliament. Parliament is important. 2 houses. They have to come to an agreement in order to make legislation. But as there is no split opposition majority, it's rather easy normally to come to solutions. First, it goes either to the National Council, and then it goes to the Senate. They have to be together. And you see also what is interesting is the party affiliations. The National Council, the lower house, is more left-leaning, is more open. In the Council of State, which gives more influence to the smaller, perhaps more rural and more conservative entities, it's more conservative. And this gives also a kind of balance, and it gives a kind of reinsurance for the people that their point of view is also reflected. It's not the tyranny of the majority in Switzerland. Very quickly on international affairs, Switzerland is a niche player. We try to have relations, good relations with all nations. We try to be helpful, go-between. We are not a member of an alliance. We are not a member of NATO. We are not a member of the EU. But we entertain pragmatic relations erga omnes. That is really Switzerland. Can we have the next one? Yes. Second pillar is the economy, economic prosperity. I will make it very short. Switzerland is a wealthy country. We started early in the 19th century. We were poor, we were a very poor country, but we were able to build a wealthy and very export-driven, innovative society. Switzerland is also has a very internationalized economy, and you see that if you have a look on the Financial Times 500 biggest enterprises in the world. It's a big list, obviously dominated by the US, China, Japan, the UK, many others. But when you come and see it, you will see that 11 companies in Switzerland are on this list. Big companies that are there, and with a total market capitalization of more than 1 trillion. That was last week when I did it. Korea is a bigger economy than Switzerland, but in a way less internationalized when it comes to financial markets. Korea has 4 international big companies under the 500 biggest companies worldwide, when it comes to market capitalization, it's 309 billion US dollars. So that shows that even though a very small country, Switzerland is an economic and financial powerhouse, and Switzerland is extremely international. You see it also in comparison. France is much bigger than Switzerland, but they have 26. Switzerland has 11. Germany has much bigger than Switzerland. So Germany has 18. Switzerland has more international big enterprises than Russia. The other case in Europe that is a kind of exception is Sweden. Sweden is also very strong on international companies. These are the major players, and the clusters are pharma, Roche and Novartis, very big players. Food, Nestle is the biggest Swiss company. Then you have the banking sector, the finance sector, Credit Suisse and UBS. Then you have insurances, also finance, Zurich Insurance and Swiss Re, which are global players. And then you have Swisscom, which is the Swiss KT. Syngenta is kind of chemistry and bio things. And ABB is a big engineering company. Richemont is a watch company. So these are big players on an international scene. Switzerland has not only big players, Switzerland has also many hidden champions, companies you wouldn't know, but who perhaps sell between 500 million US dollars and perhaps 5 billion US dollars. Smaller companies, but they are very often world leader in their segment. And they are doing extremely fine. And you see that in some sectors, it's really 35% of SMEs in Switzerland are hidden champions. I will not go through some very different. One is also in Korea because of shipbuilding. Burckhardt Compression. Burckhardt Compression is has almost a world monopoly of 90% on LPG gas compressors. You need that for the big ships. Companies in Switzerland are very small. Normally, you see that 90% of all companies have less than 10 people working there. But obviously, 1% of all companies, or no, 0.3% of all companies are the very big ones. Almost 1/3 of the companies are there. What is important also and interesting is that these small and medium-sized enterprises, again, are very international and are selling directly to international companies. It's not only subcontractors to big Swiss companies. You see it, the red part is, dark red is more than 1/3 selling abroad, directly abroad at good international prices. And the other one is, the pink one is 0 to 1/3. So again, even smaller enterprises are international. What is that? Well, Switzerland has been benefiting extremely well from international, from immigrants, from people coming to Switzerland. More than half of all CEOs are non-Swiss nationals. Switzerland goes for talent before nationality, doesn't matter. The gentleman, the black gentleman on the left upper part, was the former CEO of Credit Suisse. He is from Ivory Coast in Africa and has Ivorian nationality and French nationality. The gentleman in the middle is the CEO of Novartis, one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies. He is Indian and American. And the gentleman on the left-hand side is Italian, and he is the CEO of Zurich Insurance Company. We said it already, 1/4 is non-Swiss in Switzerland, and there's very often it's high-level immigration, but also lower-level immigration. We need it. And also universities are very international. When it comes to professors, normally it's 1/3 to 1/2 is international. Very quickly, a lot of investment also as Korea. That is very close to what you have also. You are spending a lot in education and in research and development. We too. The difference is a little bit in Korea, it's more state-sponsored, it's more state initiative. In Switzerland, it's more private companies. But it's important for us to be a knowledge-based economy to generate really innovation. We need to spend a lot on education and on R&D, as you do. This is the sector of pharma companies. You see how much they are spending. Roche was spending last year $11 billion US, almost $12 billion US. Novartis is spending $8 billion US. And in comparison to others, Sanofi of France, Merck from the US, Pfizer from the US, GlaxoSmithKline from the UK, Bayer, you see the numbers are much higher. Switzerland invests much more in R&D than similar companies, and this is something that really pays out. When you see then the sales, prescription sales, which means really the big sales through medical doctors, hospitals, Roche is number one with almost 50 billion US dollars sales. Novartis is number two with 45 billion, and then come all the other big companies. So there is really an advantage through to big investments in R&D. Well, that's something very general. It's important to know that salaries in Switzerland are rather high, pensions are also rather high, and Swiss people are well off even on retirement scheme. I think that is something, when I see elderly people in Korea collecting cardbox or plastics, then I still think, they deserve better, and Korea should deliver for them a better thing. What is also interesting is taxation is rather mild in Switzerland. Switzerland is not a high taxation country, and what is interesting in a way for Korea probably is no inheritance tax for spouse, daughters, son, irrespective of the amount, because we think family fortunes should be together. It has already been taxed, so we do not tax that. What is true also, Switzerland is more expensive than our European neighbors. So everything is more expensive in between 1/3 to 40%. So obviously, in the end, even if you're well paid, you pay also more rent, you pay more for beverages, for restaurants and everything. But a kind of minimum salary in Switzerland for a lady or a gentleman, a cleaning lady in the hospital, a gentleman at a cashier would be more or less $4,000 US a month. So it's really high salaries. There are even for the people on the lower segment. Social equality. Well, you need a performing economy to give decent social insurance to everybody. We have a 3-tier system. I think I will not run you through that. That's too technical. We spend a lot on social insurance. You see the amount. It's almost 200,000 billion US dollars, which is almost 1/3 of our GDP. Education is interesting, and that's also something where I think we should compare notes in Korea, because with Korea, in Switzerland, only around 40% of all people go study at universities. So you see at tertiary level, it's around 40. And others do only secondary level, and then they do training on the job. Training on the job through apprenticeships. And Switzerland is valuing much more skills, practical skills, than certificates. We do not produce brilliant academicians who do not find work on the labor market. We try to produce really people that can be used for the economy. Next one is very familiar to Korea also. Switzerland is also a rapidly aging society. You see it here, 18.5% were over 65 and older. In Korea it's 14, so now Switzerland is older than Korea, but Korea is aging older. And a lot has to do. You would have 37% of people in 2045, if the prognostics is right. Switzerland have 26. This has a lot to do with immigration. Switzerland society gets younger to younger people coming from everywhere in the world. Quickly, the foreign part of the economy, you see it. Switzerland has 5 million jobs, and 3.5 more almost are Swiss citizens, and almost 30%, more than 30% are foreigners. The Swiss economy could not work without foreigners on each and every level. On the top level, because many of the professors at Swiss universities are top professors from the US, the UK, Germany, Asia, whatever, that are coming to Switzerland because the conditions are very good. Not only the salaries, but life is very good. It's good. They have good schools for the kids. Taxation is moderate. So it attracts talents, but also lower qualified people. In the hospital, cleaning personnel, construction workers very often are not Swiss people. They come from other parts of Europe. They come from North Africa. They come from Middle East. They come from Asia. The fourth pillar, now the democracy, and I will have to speed up a little bit. What is interesting in Switzerland is really the consensus-driven democracy and federalism. Share power on different level, be the closest possible to the citizen, to the people concerned. Because people in Daegu know better what is good for people in Daegu than people in Seoul. People in Zurich know better what is good for them than for the central government in Bern. And the other big advantage of having this kind of competitive system is try and error. In one canton, you can start an experiment. Perhaps it works. If it works, well, the others will observe you and they will do many different things. If it not works, it will be abandoned by all. And that is also something, I wouldn't call it competition, but it's a kind of emulation, a stimulation to work together, and that smaller entities can try out things that might work or not, but then the others will follow. Sorry, I think I skipped one. Well, basically, the power distribution is the federal government obviously is national defense, foreign policy, social welfare. It's all on the federal level, energy and infrastructure, communication laws, environment law, and general law, economic law, civil law, the civil code is on a federal level. And on the cantonal level is policing, security, monitoring. Education is cantonal. Each and every canton has its own system. It was from time to time a problem because the systems were not always compatible, and if somebody was moving from one canton to another, sometimes students were losing 1 year. They tried to bring it together. This is a downside of a federal system, definitely. But the good thing is you can experiment many things, and what works well will be copied by the others. Health is also, the hospitals are run obviously in a different level. The tariffs are different in each and every canton. Culture is very close to the cantons, but also the cities. Cities are the most powerful in canton. And taxation, basically, I would say 3/4 of all taxation is cantonal, which also means that in one canton, Canton A, you pay perhaps only 65% of what you pay in Canton B. And in Canton C, you pay 85%. So it's, again, even taxation is a subject of competition and emulation between the cantons. Switzerland has a mechanism of, I should talk perhaps more about the democratic cascade. We start on the government level, federal government, but in the canton it's the same. Federal government decides a law and said, we propose it, that's our proposal. It goes to parliament, both chambers, and they have to come together, otherwise it goes back and forth, and they either agree with the government or they reject it. If it's rejected, it's done, it's dead. If it's not rejected, it then goes very often to the people. If it's important things, there are compulsory referenda where people have to have the final say. That is the most important, I think, direct democracy element where people can directly really vote. And in the end, you need the majority of the people, and very often you need also a majority of cantons, but that is a bit complicated. The second issue is that people can ask for a referendum. So there are compulsory referenda that are foreseen in the Constitution. In the end, after Parliament, it has to go to a referendum. And every year, Swiss citizens vote 4 times normally on between 12 and 20 topics. And it's very different things, you see it. But the other thing is also people can ask for initiatives. They can launch initiatives. And they say, unfortunately, the government is not taking this road. We think it's a good one. Parliament does not taking it up. We try to build pressure on both the government and Parliament. But it's less used in a way, or it's used, but it doesn't very often come to the adoption of a new law. This is, I think, referendum is much more powerful in practice than initiative. Switzerland is also a kind of solidarity community. And we realize that obviously there are some cantons that are very rich, that have big industries, a lot of taxpayers, and you have more rural cantons in the Alps, not densely populated, but they have to maintain a huge road network, many other things. On the peripheries, life is more perhaps expensive to entertain. And this is why Switzerland has introduced this fiscal federalism, and we have an equalization scheme where we try, and this is the important thing, the target per capita is there. We think that 85% is the kind of target. No canton should have per capita less than 85% of income. If they have only 60% or 65%, the richer cantons will subsidize the poorer cantons in order to give a decent living and to have a kind of level playing field, in order to allow that smaller rural areas do not fall back completely and are, really left on their own. We want to have a national kind of community. And you see how it works. That is, Bund means it's the federal state, and the cantons are there. And here you see these are the rich cantons. Zug, Basel, Geneva, Nidwald, Obwald, Schwyz, and Zurich. These are the rich cantons. These are the ones that are paying in this scheme, and these are the not so rich cantons, and these are the poorest cantons, the ones that are struggled much. And you see, some goes directly from the cantons to the cantons. Part goes through the federal state. And all over, it's $5 billion that are distributed in this kind of horizontal and vertical exchange scheme. Let me come to the conclusion, because time is really running out. And obviously, Switzerland is not a model. Switzerland has developed its own model that is good for Switzerland, and we would never preach others to take over. You cannot. You have other traditions, you have other feelings, you have another culture. But perhaps in some points we could serve as a source of inspiration. And that is what we would like to share with you. And as a takeaway, I would make 9 points. The first point is national reconciliation is extremely important. A sense of generosity to overcome divisions and ideological fractures. Switzerland had many divisions. Protestants, Catholics, they were fighting for a long time. Then there were, liberals, and for a long time. And so it was really important. And we had the Civil War, who was really a kind of the constitutional base for the new modern Switzerland. But afterwards, it was important to forgive, to talk together and to include the losers. And in many ways, I think that is an important lesson also for Korea. Not only you had a major war on the peninsula, but you had also, as a colonized country during 45 years, obviously very toxic divisions in the country, ideologic, and I think I hope that Korea will be able to overcome these polarizations. That was one of my very strong surprises, to see that domestic politics is so much polarized, and I think that is something that is taking a lot of toll in Korea. Solidarity and justice is important. A decent living for everybody. I think that must be the goal. There are always people richer than yourself. You can accept that if you have yourself a decent living. But if you are not sure, if you feel you have not enough income to pay your rent, then there is a real problem. And that is something that is undermining, I think, the social cohesion of a democratic state. Getting citizens involved in democratic governance, I think that's important. In the end, democracy is not for the government, it's not for the MPs, it's for everybody. It's for all the people. And that's the measurement we should really take. Financial equalization is important within a federal state, but also in a centralized state, I think, in many ways. And the subsidiarity principle, which means that you should really leave with local authorities, regional authorities, whatever they can decide. They cannot decide on an environmental law. They cannot decide on national defense. But when it comes to equipment, sports equipment, to ice rinks, to a new kind of swimming pool, they know what is best for them, and they do not need the interference from central state. And as I said, if you have many different actors, political actors, trying out things, this allows for experimentation, and experimentation helps the whole nation then to adapt. Education and training, Korea and Switzerland, we are fully on the same page. I think good education to everybody, reward performance. What is perhaps a slight difference, Switzerland, not 100% of the people have to go to university. We think skills are more important than university degrees. Sorry for the professors sitting with us here. A liberal democracy and an open society was really important. Liberal, in Switzerland, you can easily fire and hire. In Switzerland, the union movement is very weak. You do not need a union because you negotiate all the time. And we have a kind of very, again, decentralized approach to salary policies and all that. So that is certainly something that is also important, because you need a cash cow. You can only distribute the money you really earn. And obviously each and every country has to maximize the output of the economy in a way, but also obviously in an environment-friendly topic. We didn't talk about health, we didn't talk about environment, which are extremely important topics for all of us. A fair but moderate tax system. It goes together with a frugal administration. A small administration shouldn't be too big. When I'm seeing all the new job creations by President Moon in the public sector, I'm a little bit doubtful. I'm not sure. On the short run, perhaps this is something that has positive effects, but it's definitely not the Swiss approach. We want to have performing enterprises, international enterprises, that can hire people. And in order to do that, they must also be able to fire people, to adapt to change and to reform. Open society and pragmatism, that's important, especially as we draw so much on immigration. Immigration has become important for us. We have to tolerate different faith, different kind of feelings and different modes. This is something that is important, and Switzerland also is a very non-hierarchical society. It's very easy to approach people and to talk directly, and nobody is very much impressed by our president or by a minister. They would have a very frank exchange. And finally, obviously, yes, the geographic location, the geostrategic location is important, and Switzerland is in a milder location than Korea. You have very big challenges, but we have also challenges. We had challenges during the Second World War, during the First World War, but try to live in peace with your neighbors, have a good cooperation based on exchanges. That is certainly something important. Thank you very much. I think I overdid it by 5 minutes. Thank you, and I'm happy to discuss with you.